Hey guys, what's up? It's Angel the PsychNP. I know y'all probably be like, don't hey guys me. Where you been? Guess what? I've been lazy with a capital L. L-A-Z-Y, lazy.
I want you around.
I have like tons of videos that I've been writing out to get on here and, let you guys know about corrections, let you guys know about, my thoughts on NP, what's next. My first contract is over and I just haven't pressed record. I just have not pressed record. So here I am, and I'm here to tell you, it took me like a mission to get this video done today. So I haven't been just like not doing anything, but I haven't been, giving you guys what y'all want to know. So today I wanted to talk about 5 things that overall that I like about Inpatient. If you are new here, again, I'm Angel the PsychNP, and I am a mental health nurse practitioner, and I just finished my first travel contract as a mental health nurse practitioner, and it was my first NP job ever. It was in a prison, and it was in another state from where I live at, and it was an inpatient unit. So it was in a prison, but it operated like an inpatient hospital, which was different for me all the way around, but plus I've never heard of it before. We had patients who have never committed a crime in this facility, and we also had people who have committed heinous crimes but have mental health issues in that same unit. So it operated like an inpatient mental health hospital. So I have a list here, like 5 things that I actually loved about Inpatient. I guess in this inpatient setting, I should say, because I'm sure it's going to be different in a hospital, and I'm sure it'll probably be different from a jail versus a prison. For those of you who don't know the difference, from my understanding, a prison is after you have gotten your time already. So you committed your crime and you got your time, so you go to prison. Jail is where you can be held until you get your time, and that could be a long time. Like, I know somebody personally who's been in jail since 1998. If you see me looking down, it's because I have some notes here. It's just too much for me to remember off the top of my head everything that I wanted to bring to you guys. So I got tons of videos that I just need to record. One of the things that I like about the inpatient setting is like knowing your caseload. When you come into work in the prison, I have my set of patients that I will see every week, because you see them weekly. So if they are well, I should say, well as can be, as far as their mental health is concerned, you only have to see them like once a week. Documentation is pretty much the same. Like, so much so that I asked a psychiatrist who was working with me, because she's like senior and she has way more experience than me. I'm like, doctor, person, I feel like I'm writing the same note every week and nothing's changing. Like, these guys are pretty much, they're okay. And in the prison, so like in a hospital, right, if you're okay or well, mentally stable again, you'll probably be discharged or whatever the case may be to, home or wherever you came from. But in the prison, in this particular setting, even if you're well, you have to be presented to the state hospital depending on what the crime was. It's just such a long process, and it varies depending on what you were there for. But for instance, if you were somebody who kind of pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, and it was approved that you were not guilty by reason of insanity by the courts and everybody involved, then once you're well in our facility or my old facility, we would have to present you to the state hospital. The state hospital will then come and interview you and they have their own interview process to make sure that you're stable enough to come back to the state hospital. Once you get to the state hospital, you would stay there for whatever time frame, and they transition you back to the streets. I went off on a little tangent there, but you have your caseload, right? And you see those patients weekly. They progress through tiers based on how well they're doing. The ones who are not doing really well, you see them every day. These are the people who are suicidal, homicidal, or just like having some really severe like hallucinations and stuff like that. So you see them every day, and until they come off like the watch. So I like having my caseload, knowing who my patients is, watching them get well, going through the units to get well. I feel like I'm learning a lot too that way, because I'm seeing what medications work well together, because it's a lot of trial and error when you having like what they call SMI, severely mentally ill patients. You try a lot of medications on them, what works and what don't. Some of them have been on medication since childhood, so they would tell you, no, that don't work for me, or this is what happened when I was on that. So you could use the process of elimination just by patient history, which is why that is so important on the intake, is to make sure you get a really good patient history of what happened in the past, like suicidal attempts, everything, medications they taken, and not just from adulthood. You got to start from childhood, because some of these people have been on medication since they were children. I like having the same caseload because it helps me learn a lot that way. I learn a lot by having the same 20 something patients every week. Sometimes I would get new patients and add on to that. Sometimes I would get rid of patients, but for the most part, on any given week, I would have no less than about 24 patients on any given week. But they like 20 to 22 of them are at least the same patients every week. So you get to know them, you build a rapport with them, they trust you. I had when I left there, I got some really great compliments, and I was very honest with those people when I got there. Like, this is my first job as an NP, and some stuff, they tell you that you shouldn't be telling people because they will manipulate you and try to you. But I don't know, I guess I had this like aura on me, like, don't play with me, and they didn't. So of course you have like the lifers. In my personal opinion, just on my small experience in the prison setting thus far, people who have life sentences just should not be put with other people. It's like they have nothing to lose, and their goal is just, some of them, I should say, their goal is just to see how they can make the prison pay, like, what can I do today? I wake up to just get on the provider's nerves, get on the CO's nerves, make the nurse's life a living hell. Like, what could I do today? Oh, they short staff, because they know when you're short staff, because sometimes you have to close the units down. So they paying attention. That's all they got to do in there is pay attention. So they know when you short staff. So, they short staff. Let me swallow a pen, because they're going to have to send 3 officers out with me. Now you're going to be really short-staffed, because this is what they do. This is what they do in there. So, but I love having the same caseload. I kind of talked about 2 already. That was like the first one, having a caseload. 2 was severely mental ill cases, like dealing with people with acute and chronic mental issues. Like I said, all these people were not inmates or prisoners. Some of these people were just people who the state hospital was like, we cannot get this guy under control. So he needs to be housed in the prison, because it's more of a secured lockdown type of unit. Very nice people, just come from like very, traumatized backgrounds, and like what is the outcome? What do we expect for children that were born and raised in such horrible conditions. Like, what do we really expect their outcome to be, you know, with no therapy? And then when they're pulled from the homes, if they got lucky, you know, somebody told that what was happening to them, and they were pulled from the homes to go to like a foster home or something, and then they go to the foster home, and then the same things happening there. Like, what do we really expect the outcome of these people to be? Unfortunately for us, and when I say us, I'm just talking about the world as a whole, our loved ones pay the cost for this unhealed trauma, you know, i.e. from death at the hands of one of these guys or women. And it's just, it's unfortunate. It really is. Another thing, number 3, I've always watched like special victim unit crime shows. I've always loved crime. So the criminal mind is very interesting to me. Why? I don't know. A lot of people love like criminal shows, like SVU went on, I don't even know how many seasons. That means somebody was like, we was watching it, right? SVU is Law and Order Special Victim Unit, for people who don't know. I had a comment with somebody told under one of my videos where a guy was like, oh, you know, when professionals talk about stuff being demonic and evil and not mental health, like it always surprises them or whatever. And I'm like, I went back and forth with them for a little bit, but then I deleted everything. I left their comment because they're entitled to their opinion. But I know what I saw, and I know what I deal with, and I know what I see in this world today. And some stuff is just straight up evil, and it has nothing to do with mental health. And now I'm standing on that. So if you don't like what I said, then oh well. But I had people who would come and be like, yeah, I killed such and such. Like, just sitting there like, I killed him. And you could be antisocial and feel that way, right? But some of it is just evil that you want to relive that and continuously talk about that. And you ain't getting no response from me, because I can just like, I can have an emotionalist response all the time. Some of it's just pure evil, and it's not all mental health, and I don't care. So the criminal mind is very interesting, just to listen to some people talk about what happened, you know, their version of what happened, versus the truth. Well, I think I want to do it long term. No. Is my next job in this setting? Yes. This one will be different though, because the first one was a prison. This one is a jail. This one should be interesting because these people don't have time yet. So I don't know what I should be looking for that'll be different. But I think that they, in my mind, if they don't have time, they wouldn't want to be playing the games that some people play in the prison setting to manipulate their way around the prison, because they know they got like 25 years or whatever. So they're just trying to find other places to go. They want to come in the mental health area because sometimes you get your own bed. You don't have a bunkie or whatever. So it varies, you know. But in the jail setting, everybody's waiting for their time. Nobody knows what's about to happen to them. They're waiting for court dates. So I'm interested to see the difference between the two. And of course, I will bring it to you guys. Another thing that I really like about the inpatient setting, and especially this particular prison that I was in, was the collaboration. Amazing. And for those of you who don't know, I used to be an ICU nurse, so teamwork is what I love and what I'm used to, because that's how you survive in the ICU setting. I love this about the unit that I was on. The social workers, we were like this. They would come in the mornings, and we had the provider's office and we had the social worker's office. And then nursing would be downstairs. We would do collaborative meetings every week on what's happening with these people. The nurses in this particular prison, top tier. They know these patients like so well, because they have the most stability in that setting, is the nurses and the COs. The social workers have come and go, you know, the providers are coming and going because they have a lot of contractors. So you need the nurses to kind of tell you about these patients. Oh, when he was on this med, he was better, you know, things like that. So the team effort that when you have a good team, we saw patients like really getting well who were not getting well in a long time. Like there's a patient that was in like isolation for like 4 years or so. And a lot of it was because when you would try to move him forward, he would do something to make himself go backward out of fear of getting well and potentially leaving. Like he wants to stay there forever because he has such, you know, mental illness that he feels safe in this setting. But we moved him, like we were able to move him through, and it was a collaborative effort that we were meeting together, and we were like, okay, you tell him this, you tell him this, you tell him this. And it was working to move him through so he wasn't in fear, because we were all on the same page when we talked to him, which is really important when you got people who are severely mentally ill, because they don't know who to trust, you know. And they hate the change out of providers. Like the week that I left, another provider was leaving too, and we saw some people start setting themselves back. And I think what the nurses were saying was that's how they respond to, they trusted us. We built a trust with them. They were moving forward, getting well, and now they feel abandoned. And these are people who are coming from childhoods of trauma and abandonment, and then here we are, providers that's coming and going. So every time they build a trust with somebody, they leave, you know. So that's the hard part. Like I didn't like that. It was different being a travel nurse, you know, because you know, patients, they come and go and different. But in this setting, imagine seeing the same people every day over and over. You building a rapport with them. They called me Angel, you know. Majority of the patients called me by my first name. And I think it worked really well for a trust factor. I'm not uptight about names. I've never have been. When I was a nurse, I go in there, call patient, you know, they could call me Angel. I've never been uptight like that you had to call me by my last name or whatever. And I felt good, you know. I felt that I had a good rapport with a lot of those patients. There were some patients though that I do know, they were very nice. They were like, Miss, one of them, like when he really wanted to, like he wanted me to come do something for him or pass a message, Miss Snipes, you know, like it was kind of something like off the movies where you know somebody is like up to something, like that's how he would do. But you know, I do feel like certain patients, like they were very, very nice, but if they had a chance to take them cuffs off, they would probably kill us all, you know, like that type of setting. So the team collaboration, it was really, really good. I love that. And I think I love that about inpatient. So I'm not sure if I could really, how well I would do in outpatient, because I really love that team environment of the inpatient setting and seeing us come together and get people well. This is another thing that I love, and I don't know what it's like because this is, like I said, was my first job. But I always read like the nursing vlogs, nurse practitioner vlogs, and Facebook posts. And the nurse practitioners in the outpatient setting complain about the charting, how they're done seeing their patients, but they're spending hours after work charting. And when I leave the prison, I'm done, unless I'm on call, because I started taking call. So, but for the most part, when I leave there, my notes are done. I'm done. I'm going to explore the city, and I'm outside, you know. So I really like that I, you know, as a nurse practitioner, that's one thing that everybody talked about. It's just so much charting and taking the work home. I did do a lot of charting, don't get me wrong, but I didn't have to take it home with me. When I was done at work. So I love that. So those are 5 things that I liked about the inpatient setting. I noticed I kind of got like on tangents and went and said some other stuff, but overall, the 5 things is knowing your caseload, you know, dealing with the same patients every week. You're dealing with the same patients. 2, in that setting, I was in the inpatient, you get more the SMI, severely mentally ill patients. I love that about it because it was a great learning opportunity. The criminal mind, in this setting, I was dealing with criminals, and I love, I found out that I liked the criminal mind a little bit. The team collaboration, that's number 4. And when I was done, I was done. Those are 5 things that I liked about working inpatient in corrections. And I got another contract, so I'm going to tell you guys more about that. And then I don't know about the next video because I have some other videos for some questions that people have asked me. I guess they found me here on YouTube and it came and DM me on Instagram. So I want to kind of turn those into videos. Sorry that this video was kind of all over the place because I got so much to say. And you know what? Let me tell y'all a little secret. I don't know how I have 5 degrees because I am not organized. And this is another reason why it's been hard for me to come back and make some videos, is because I can't get organize my thoughts to put them together and bring them to a video. This video, this was supposed to be 5 things that I could talk about that I liked about inpatient setting. And I started talking about some other stuff that could have been other content for another video. I don't know how I got 5 degrees. God, grace, and mercy, child. So I'll have more videos coming. I think this one just broke the ice of getting me back into recording mode, which has been hard for me to do. I will be back with more videos on mental health, nurse practitioner, corrections, contracts. And if y'all have anything else that you would like from me, you could DM me on Instagram, which is Angel the PsychNP too, because it's easier for me to just go there, respond to you, read your question, and bring it to a video. That is it for now. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Angel the PsychNP. Ciao.
I want you.